everybody, I hope you're all okay out there. Today's video is focused on supporting newly registered nurses and nursing associates who might be struggling, or you might be a trainee nursing associate or near to registering student worrying about that transition. So a few practical tips in my video today, and I really hope they help. If you have any questions at all, do put them in the YouTube comments as well. So my first key tip is don't try to do too much when you first start. And many newly registered nurses and trainee nursing associates that I support feel they need to know everything, and you don't when you first start. It's very difficult because they're interested in that area, they've applied for a role, and they feel that there's so much to learn, and that can make you feel overwhelmed. So try not to put additional stress on yourself trying to do everything at once. Many newly registered nurses and nursing associates feel the same as you, and it takes time to develop your confidence and those key transferable skills. It's not a race, and remember, your health always comes before work. If you try to do too much at once, you're going to burn out and make yourself poorly. So how do you not do that? First thing is to prioritise essential learning, and that will be determined locally and nationally. Talk to your managers, talk to clinical educators, look at your induction packs, your orientation packs, and your essential learning and priorities will be based on your nursing responsibilities, your job description, and breaking learning down into essential, statutory, mandatory at the beginning, and then you're going into more long-term goals and objectives. Second thing, don't compare yourself to other people. Lots of people do this. Everyone's learning and development needs are different, and your strengths and areas for development will be individualized to you. So just focus on your learning. Second key tip, understanding key support structures and identifying key people. It's very helpful to do this when you're in your supernumerary period at the beginning. Wherever you work, be it a very small team or a larger hospital or community trust, you'll have a clinical management leadership structure, and there'll always be somebody responsible for your clinical education and your professional development and training. So finding out who those people are. If your manager's off sick, who's the next person to go to? If you have a clinical educator, who do you go if you want to apply for a course, for example? Who's the next person you would go to? Also, there may be some local peer support. You should have a preceptor during your preceptorship period. Does your employer offer clinical supervision? Are there career advisors, other members of the multidisciplinary team, or other peer support groups out there? If there isn't, then start one, ask for one, be proactive. It's helpful to check out if there's other key people for support working with your employer. Key people to look out for: specialist nurses, clinical nurse specialists, advanced nurse practitioners, lecturer practitioners, and consultant nurses in your area would have a wealth of knowledge and skills. Are there clinical governance leads or safeguarding leads, again with a wealth of knowledge? Health and wellbeing leads may help signpost services for support. Human resources, who's your human resources consultant? And freedom to speak up guardians, offering confidential advice if you're struggling. Occupational health will advise on reasonable adjustments or phased return to work. And then you've got national support from the RCN and all the other unions that are available. There's an employee assistance programme that many employers are part of, and they provide professional support and services to staff, such as professionally qualified counsellors, confidential helpline for staff, 24/7 helpline within experienced in-house counsellors, and financial specialists as well. So supporting staff with practical issues, financial and relational well-being issues as well, and workplace issues. And then the Cavell Nurses Trust. So the Cavell Nurses Trust is a charity supporting UK nurses, midwives and health assistants, working or retired, and they may, if they're suffering from personal or financial hardship issues, and it could be due to illness, disability, domestic abuse, or rising living costs. So having a look at what's out there will help So once you've looked at what's available, the third key tip is to access that support. And some newly registered nurses and trainee nursing associates feel that they don't want to ask, they feel that they've failed by saying that they're struggling. Please don't. Just speak up, tell somebody, go and talk to somebody. And looking at available support, access that support. So you should have an induction, there should be some form of orientation or some specialist study days available. There may be local teaching packs or learning resources, band 5 competencies or some structured learning outcomes. There should always be some form of supernumerary time where you're not in the numbers. And if you're struggling talking to somebody, that should be extended if needed. There should be a preceptor to oversee your progress and support, or buddies and mentors to support you on shifts as well, because your preceptor you may not work with on every shift. There should be always somebody that you can go to. And then looking at professional development plans and reviews through the year, ideally 3 monthly to 6 monthly, and then you should have an annual appraisal at the end of your first year, and then going through the rest of your career, an annual appraisal. I have got some helpful videos on my YouTube channel with more detail about preceptorship for nurses, preparing for professional development reviews during your first year, and preparing for an appraisal, clinical supervision and post-registration education, so do check those out too. And just remember that do your research when choosing your first role and subsequent roles. Always talk to someone if you're struggling and access support. Look out for other people as well. You might be okay, but somebody else might not be, and get them to access support. Escalate. If you're not receiving support, then once you've looked at the structure for line management and education, then escalate. Keep escalating till somebody supports you. And life is really too short to spend 8 to 12 hours a day unhappy. So if support isn't forthcoming, then look for another role. There's other jobs out there. They don't deserve to have you if they're not going to support you if you're struggling. So I hope that this video has helped in some way. If you don't want to put comments in the YouTube because they're quite public, you can always DM me privately on Twitter, my website or Instagram as well. And I hope you found some of these tips helpful.